This is the plaintiff, Ty Jakovsky. He says he purchased a beautiful black and white Scottish fold kitten from the defendant, and the cat was sick almost immediately after he brought it home. Turns out the defendant sold him a very sickly cat, infected with an aggressive immune virus, and the kitten died 1 week later. The defendants caused him irreparable emotional and financial harm, and he's suing her today for the state max of $5,000 to compensate him for all she put him through. This is the defendant, Valeria Kravchenko. She says she sold the plaintiff 2 very healthy kittens. He brought them to his vet, they got a clean bill of health, and now she's being sued? 4 months after he had the kittens, one of them unfortunately caught a virus and died. But how's that her responsibility? No one knows how his kittens got this virus, and she's simply not responsible. She's accused of selling a compromised cat. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,500 for stress and aggravation.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Okay. You bought a kitten from the defendant, correct?
I bought 2 kittens from the defendant.
2 kittens from the defendant. And you had kittens, why?
Because I breed them for my pleasure.
When you say for your pleasure, what does that mean?
I like, to breed them, and I like to make people happy with my kittens.
Okay, but you sell them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And how many do you sell a year?
About 25 kittens.
25?
I would say.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, how much did you pay for each kitten?
Shika was $1,800, and his brother Mark of the same litter was $1,000.
Wow. Okay. For cat? I'm sorry. I'm a cat person, but I just didn't realize that there were those kind of numbers involved. What kind of cats are these?
So this is very special breed. You cannot find it in America. I needed to go to different country to, actually buy them for breeding, and I spent like $thousands for that.
What country did you have to go?
Russia.
Oh, okay. Are you from Russia?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So that's how I know about this breed, and it's called Scottish Fold.
Scottish Fold.
Yes.
Okay. And what's so beautiful about them?
So they are like dogs, they have very calm personalities. They love people. They're just they're so plush. They are like teddy bears,
Okay. This is the kitty when the kitty was alive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the kitty was like purring or whatever, and you took a picture.
Yeah,
okay.
so he was an excellent animal for a day, basically.
Okay. When you say he was an excellent animal for a day, what do you mean?
When I brought him home, that day was amazing.
And then the next day, what happened?
The following day in the morning, took him to the vet, and he was checked out to have a clean bill of health. Yes. Later that day, he showed his initial signs of...
what was the date of purchase? I'm sorry.
The date of purchase was 10/20 was when I brought them home.
October 20th? Is that accurate? Okay.
Yes.
So go on.
From there, he and his brother both had loose stools that evening, and over the next few days, it progressively got worse. They slowly just stopped eating more and more. So I took them to the vet. At that point, they were prescribed an antibiotic called metronidazole,
Okay.
which is supposed to help their immune systems to bring them back and settle with this diarrhea. His brother, Mark, then recovered and to this day is healthy and fine. So that's kind of the end of his saga here. Shika, however, continued to deteriorate. It got to the point where he couldn't ingest the medicine orally anymore. So over the next few days, it kind of deteriorated further to the point where I had to hospitalize him, and he needed to stay overnight and be given fluids intravenously.
How long was the kitty hospitalized?
He was there overnight. He was there for...
And then you brought the kitty home?
13 hours. Yeah, he was there. They said he's eating again. He's got the meds. They kind of topped him up, and he was feeling better.
Okay.
So he was able to come home, and then he lived for like 5-6 weeks. Excellent bill of health. He was beautiful. He was lovely. Had a really great time.
And then what
with
happened?
him. And then he basically inflated and died.
Like all at once, or?
In like a week, in a few days.
All right. Did you take him back to the vet at that point?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And how long was he at the vet's that time?
he didn't stay at any point in time. It was kind of an immediate diagnosis of a fatal disease, and they said,
So did they put him to sleep?
no, not immediately. It was, we will try and treat this for whatever it could be that isn't. It's this disease is called FIP. It's feline infectious peritonitis. It is a disease where it's like so many people have like HIV basically, or the common cold, but in some of us it mutates and it turns into another disease, which is FIP. It happened to Shika. He got the coronavirus from her breeder, from her cattery.
Says who?
It says doctors. I can show you.
Okay,
Yeah.
show me the
Yeah.
doctor's report. Did the doctor write a report saying that the animal was unfit for purchase at the time of the purchase?
If you needed that, I would be able to get that.
Well, no,
I
we're in
feel,
trial
but
now.
there
It's
is,
too late.
there's
Now, I know.
there's not a
Yeah.
physical document right
All
now
right.
that says.
Now, you have a contract that you have people sign, correct?
Yes,
Do you
I
have a copy of that contract with you here today?
Yes, I do.
I do as well.
Okay, let me see both copies of the contract. And you wanted to bring my attention to a specific clause in here, correct?
Yes.
Which is that breeder provides a warranty for genetic problems for 180 days.
Yeah, but this is not genetic
Breeder
problem.
is not responsible for FIP. Did you read this?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you know that in here it says breeder's not responsible for FIP. Did you know what FIP was at the time?
Did not at all. It's just 3 letters, you know.
Yeah, I know.
and
Did you
it's-
ask what it was?
It's extraordinarily rare. No, I mean I didn't. know what
As
it
most
was.
people, maybe you didn't read it that carefully.
I also brought the lemon law, which is saying, like, as you said, that, you know, he needs to show me before he asks me for money. He needs to show me this paper unfit for purchase.
Yeah, this lemon law she's talking about. Let me see what you have. I want to see if it's the actual New York law.
It's actually saying that the plaintiff cannot ask me for more. For a price
I'll tell you what it says.
Yeah.
All right, so here's how it goes. If within 14 days following the sale of an animal, subject to this article, which this animal is, a vet of the customer's choosing, licensed by the state, certifies an animal to be unfit for purchase due to illness or the presence of symptoms of a contagious or infectious disease, and that would be at the time of sale, then what she's got to do is afford you the right to choose one of several options. The right to return the animal and receive a refund, the right to return the animal and receive an exchange animal, or the right to keep the animal because people bond with their animals and receive reimbursement from them for anything that you spent trying to cure the animal up to the cost of the animal. So it's a very, it's a very specific statutory scheme that's involved.
Yeah, and I think this is where it gets interesting. Would you like me first to submit the evidence here regarding the where the infection comes from, and then what is actually the risk to his brother, to his littermate who has that cat that we were speaking
Where did you
of
get
earlier?
that?
This is from the hospital. They said, here is the disease that he
Okay,
has.
yes.
So, like, this is the information.
I'd like everything the hospital gave you.
Yes, absolutely.
So go on.
So what was interesting is that on an initial hospitalization, when I spoke to her, and she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, he was actually on antibiotics a few days before."
So tell me about that. Why was the animal on antibiotics a few days before?
So basically, little kittens, they can have diarrhea, right? And to stop this diarrhea, there is a medicine called metronidazole that you can give them, and it stops right away.
So you made the decision to administer the medicine,
Yes.
and you gave it to the animal for 2 days.
Yes, and it stopped. And then I warned the plaintiff that if something happens, please let me know, because
Did you
I
ever
have-
tell him before you sold him the animal that the animal had just been on antibiotics?
no.
How many days earlier had the animal been on antibiotics?
3 days, I would say.
So 2 days of antibiotics, 3 days, and then he picks
were
up the
good.
animal.
Yeah, they
How
were-
old was the animal when he picked him up?
2.5 months old,
2.5 months.
10 weeks.
Yeah.
The timeline is inaccurate. It was 2 days, then I picked him up on the 3rd day. So that, like, the 3rd day when she mentioned.
How do you know that?
Because we were in contact. She said, "Oh, I'm giving him some medicine. Pick him up on this next day."
So there was no gap.
There was no gap. So she basically hopped him up on these
So
antibiotics.
she did tell you about the medicine
No,
before
excuse
you
me.
picked up the cat.
But not that it was antibiotics.
What did you ask her? What's the medicine?
No, because it was more like, we're treating the diarrhea. She didn't really
So
say.
you knew that the animal had diarrhea.
And I said, fine, if you
You
want me
knew
to.
that the animal was being treated, and you knew there was being a medicine administered.
I didn't know if there was a medicine.
Okay, and what did you want to interrupt with?
He asked me for the name of the medicine, and I told him.
When?
And, I told him about medicine
When?
on
I want
October 22nd.
Okay, so October 22nd
Yes.
is 2 days
And-
after he has the animal.
And I
so
offered
do you,
him-
if she tells you by text 48 hours later, do you ever tell the doctor what it is?
That's why when we went back to the vet,
All right,
we got
and then
him.
the doctor knows it, does whatever he's going to do,
They
continues
said,
that same
"We need to
medication.
get back on that drug,
and
and let's
everything
finish
looks
that."
fine. It worked for the other cat. It didn't work for this one.
Yes, because he was kind of far gone.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does the animal die? How many months later was it?
5 weeks.
Okay, and
Yeah.
how did Chica
Shika, yes.
Chica pass away?
Shika came down with the feline infectious peritonitis, which basically weakened his immune system. A pre-existing kind of, not necessarily condition, but almost like something that can push a cat to allow this virus that it has to mutate is a weakened immune system, which I believe she enabled by putting him on 2 days of antibiotics and then saying, here, he's a healthy cat. I figured he just had diarrhea. Okay, fine. I don't know, maybe just give him a Tums or something. I don't know. I'm not like a breeder. I'm buying a $2,000 cat from this woman. I'm expecting a living
Right, she
animal.
did. I've read the
you know.
text. What I'd like to know is before you bring the cat back in December. So there's 5 weeks where there's no problem, no diarrhea, nothing, no medicine.
He's great, yeah.
And when you bring the cat back, did the other cat show any symptoms of sickness?
The other cat has not. No, he's
Not even in December when this cat was in full-blown FIP.
No, but he
Okay.
has the coronavirus and may at any day succumb to this disease, which is also why I'm here, because we'll need some cash if if that's gonna happen to him as well.
Okay, well, that would be completely speculative on your part, right?
I mean, perhaps.
Right.
But
Okay. So now, how do we know when the cat got the coronavirus?
It's because the disease is kind of elusive.
Well, this is interesting. FIP stems from infection with the enteric coronavirus of cats, but FIP is not contagious. So you don't give it to another cat. So why is all this other stuff?
The virus, the FIP is the condition when the virus mutates and then kills you as a disease. The coronavirus is what is contagious, is spread to other animals. And if you actually read on, FIP actually still transfers the virus. It doesn't actually transfer a positive FIP. FIP is
You don't have a doctor. Do you have a doctor saying this cat had FIP in the first 14 days?
not in the first 14 days, however.
Right. So how is it then that you would be entitled to, I realize this, look, I get it. You paid a lot of money, you had a cat, the cat died in 5 or 6 weeks, I get it.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to prove in a court of law that you can tell me 100 times, well, the cat had it in it, but it mutated on this one, it mutated on that, but this is all speculation on your part. You have to be able to tell me that there was a detected virus and that's 14 days, and that the animal was thus unfit for purchase, and that's exactly what your vet has to say for you to be able to get money back. Now, she was saying to you that she would give you some money back, or that she would give you all the money back, that she needed to be on a payment plan and some other stuff.
Yes.
Why was that happening? You were freaking out when the animals were first brought in, saying, oh, I was praying all night, I'm so glad to hear they're better and all that. And then when the animal dies, he writes to you and he says, you got to help me with this. And you offer to help him with the bills. Tell me about that.
Yes, I did. Because, first of all, he was pushing me, and I was pregnant and, I was like emotional stressed. And so after he pushed me, I'm like, okay, can I give you refund of the kitten by payments? Because I just don't have, that money right now. And he said, no, he kept pushing me.
Oh, you should have taken that. But anyway, go ahead. And then you said $500 a month. And then he also said no.
Yes.
And then what happened? Then you got sued.
And then, I just,
Now
he
you have a
pissed me
counterclaim
off.
against him for $2,500 for what?
I lost my child last week,
I'm sorry to
and
hear that.
and all this process was very tough for me, I've never been sued before, and I love my cats, and I was texting him, calling him every day, and actually I have some papers that
Okay,
showing.
but hold on one second.
that
You're not suggesting you lost your baby because you had this dispute with him.
But I had so much stress, and
Over this?
Yes.
Do you have
because
children?
I love my.
Do you
no,
have children?
It was my
It's
first,
your first
pregnancy. Yeah.
Okay, I'm here to tell you, as someone who had miscarriages, it is very common, as I'm sure the doctor told you, that first pregnancies result in this. Okay? It is not because of him or the problem with the cat. And if it is, then that is an issue for you to undertake therapy for. Because, if you're pregnant and you have to take care of the baby, and you're having such stress that would cause you to lose a baby, then you shouldn't be having such stress. You know what I'm saying?
She'll be even more stressed if she has to pay the plaintiff $5,000. Judge Millian rules next.
I'm very sorry that happened. I'm sure, as the doctor said, you're young and, et cetera, that doesn't change the loss that you feel. I know the dates of both my miscarriage, and I think about it every year. And I have children who are 23, 22, and 18. So it's painful, but you will get past this, and it truly has nothing to do with our case. As far as your counterclaim against him, zero.
But I have more papers.
Stop.
Okay.
And on your claim, unless it has to do with his claim against you.
About FIP. I wanted to.
I don't need to know any more about
Okay,
FIP.
okay.
I researched FIP before I didn't know anything until this case.
Isn't it awful?
I really didn't, and it is really awful. And I before I became a dog person, I was a cat person, and I had never heard of that. And it's just awful. It's awful. But sometimes not every awful thing that happens to us, someone else has to pay for. The law is very specific about what you have to have in order to have her pay you. And you don't have it. I see where the doctor's saying, wow, it's really irresponsible not to tell you. That I saw in the emails back and forth, It's really irresponsible to just have 2 days of antibiotics and not tell you. But except for she did tell you. And
Well, she told me after the fact. It was
after the sale, but within 48 hours and before your doctor treated. And frankly, your doctor continued the course she had started.
But it
so no,
allowed
we're
the
done. We're done, my
animal
dear.
to-
We're done. You don't have what you need. Let's start off with you don't have the basic thing you need, which is a certificate from a veterinarian that's licensed in the state that says the animal was unfit for purchase. But even if the doctor had said that, I'm going into all of this background stuff because I want you to know it's not that you forgot to get something special. It's that vet was never going to say that. Because I see from what the vet knows that there's no way the vet could have said that, you see? So on your lawsuit against her, I'm ruling in favor of the defendant.
So in these competing lawsuits, both sides failed to prove their case. What's your reaction to the judge's verdict?
If it's all about the paperwork, then that's what it's going to be.
You were suing for irreparable emotional distress.
Yeah.
That's one of the things.
Yeah.
Has it been that bad, that hard on you?
It was pretty terrible. This animal formed a really strong bond in our family, and it was really sad to, see him be lost. It was unfortunate.
But the other cat's doing okay.
Mark's all right, yeah.
If something should happen to him, will you go back to sue her again for that virus?
I think now knowing that there's a paper trail that I might need to follow, that I will follow up with
You'll
that
try and do
and
that.
see
Okay.
if there's opportunities for actually getting some of the stuff that the judge needs.
Thank you very much. All right, you must sign a few documents on your way out of the courtroom. Sorry you could not prevail. And same thing in your case. Sorry you couldn't prevail. You okay with that? You understand?
Yes, I understand.
This is emotionally tough for you too as well, right?
Yeah. I love my cats, I do everything for them. So it was just not fair the way he was talking to me. I've been nice to him since the first day.
Very obvious. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Harvey?
So, Doug, to win a case like this, you really need an expert. You need a vet to say what the problem is with the cat and whether that problem existed at the time of sale.
This is the plaintiff, Alyssa Banks. She says she purchased a Siamese kitten from the defendant, and the woman sold her a cat that was near death. That's right, that kitten had a fever, a respiratory infection. She was dehydrated and covered in fleas. The defendant was arrested for animal cruelty. She nursed the kitten to good health with the help of a great vet, and the defendant owes her big time. She's suing for $1,000 for vet bills and continued treatments. This is the defendant, Netta Chatter. She says the kitten had a little cold when she sold her. The vet gave her a clean bill of health, provided all the paperwork, and the woman simply overreacted. She's been raising Siamese cats for 16 years. The plaintiff is very emotional because she went through a near-death experience herself, and there was no need for this kitten to be hospitalized. She's accused of breeding a bad cat.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff bought a Siamese kitten from the defendant that was near death. It was so bad, the plaintiff says the defendant was arrested for animal cruelty. The defendant says the kitten had a cold when she sold her, so big deal. It's the case of now it's time to feed the kitty.
Thank you. Douglas. Alyssa Banks, you are suing Nada Shatir for $1,000, $364.62 of vet bills plus additional amounts to continue treatment. What happened?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I was born with a congenital heart defect, and on November 11th, 2016, I had to undergo a cardiac catheterization routine. I went into heart failure the next day and was sent to Columbia Presbyterian. No surgeon in the hospital would be willing to do my surgery except for one, and his name was Dr. Emil Basha. So anyways, obviously I survived, and happily. And a year later, the holidays were coming up. I was euphoric because I was here. And my husband asked me for ideas. And I said, I've always wanted a Siamese cat ever since I was a little girl. So he told me, try to find one. I went on Pet Finders and I found Siamese kittens. So I called the phone number. So we talked quite a while and I explained to her I had a cat and a dog at home. She assured me that the kittens had been to the vet. They had been tested for the deadly viruses that kittens could have, and assured me that my pets were not in jeopardy. So we negotiated a meeting point.
Was it your suggestion to have a meeting point or her suggestion?
It was her suggestion.
Okay.
So we met at the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, and I got into her car. I asked her to bring the 3 kittens so I could pick from the litter.
And she brought one.
She only brought one.
Right. So like isn't that like a warning for you?
Well, she told me that one was sold and she couldn't catch the 3rd one.
Couldn't catch the 3rd one. Isn't that a warning for you? All right. So, and then she tells you that this cat had spilled water on itself. And when the kitten's in front of you, the kitten was wet.
The kitten was very wet, and it was wrapped in a towel. She was drying him off. I held the kitten. I continued asking questions. She told me she believed in karma. She would never lie to me.
About what?
The health of the kitten.
Okay, but she told you the kitten had a problem. The kitten had a cold.
She did not.
She told you not. You didn't.
She told me that the kitten had a clean bill of health. She had just taken him to the vet a week earlier.
So then you take the kitten home, and what do you notice?
So I took him home that night, and he started acting weird, choking, jerking around. I took a video.
Yeah, is this the kitten?
Yes. That was the day we got him.
What did you name the kitten?
I named him Basha after my surgeon.
Who did your surgery?
Yes.
Did you let the surgeon know? That's so cute.
And he was honored. I thought he'd get mad at me, but he was.
No, it's adorable.
He was
Why wouldn't
honored.
he be honored? And this is your dog?
That's Carly, my dog.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're killing me. You are killing me with this picture. Are you kidding me? That's a Christmas card right there. Look at that picture. That's adorable. That's your other cat?
My other cat.
All right, show me the video. I mean, okay, so the cat sneezed twice. Tell me what happened.
That was a cough. That was a cough.
Or a cough.
He was choking.
Okay. So you take the cat, and I can see what you meant about the head. So you take the cat the next day to the vet, and what happens?
The vet told me, and I believe you have a letter from my vet also, that the cat, in his opinion, was near death. He was dehydrated. He was suffering with conjunctivitis, fleas, he had an upper respiratory infection, And he also told me in his opinion, which is in his letter, that if I return the kitten, there's a good chance that more than likely the cat would have died.
How could he possibly ever say that, though? He doesn't know. If she had taken the
Because-
cat to another vet, that vet might have treated the cat. and
Because he
so-
said that this kitten was not getting medical attention. It should
Right,
have
but
never been
he can't.
sold.
He can't. I saw that was thrown into the letter. Frankly, it makes it, in my eyes, a little less credible. It sounds like he's really, really on your side. It's a little over the top. If you return the cat will die. First of all, the law is not stupid. We don't require you to return the cat. We have alternative. We know people get connected the minute they bring the pet home. But he is saying that this cat was really sick. So why would you sell a cat that was so sick?
The cat was, I'm not going to say she's lying, but she's exaggerating, and she
Okay.
was emotionally connected. I explained to her the cat I gave her all the paperwork.
She just gave me a bill.
No, it has it in the vet bill, and in the paperwork and the paper I gave her, it says, I told them they had some sort of infection, which I treated, and he said that they get like colds. It's called respiratory something called for colds for cats. But he said it's normal. And I explained to her everything. And I'm always honest. And I even told her I believe in karma. Because if you have any issue, bring it back. I'll take care of it. I don't want you to have an issue and somebody else, and they're going to tell somebody else, and else, it's not what I do,
Okay.
The cat,
So when was the first time she reached out to you to tell you there's a problem?
I think it was like the next day. I'm not sure.
And what was your response?
So what's the best way of buying a dog or a cat, a breeder or a rescue?
I would say a breeder,
And you say that why?
because I got my 2 dogs from a breeder.
Yes, correct. I mean, it depends. If you're trying to save up money, obviously you go to a rescue.
Well, I would argue that it's not about saving money. I have rescues.
There you go, yeah.
And they never forget.
Correct.
They
True.
never forget. And they're such good dogs. They're such good dogs going inside the courtroom.
I told her, tell me what's going on and I'll take care of this,
Meaning what?
To help her out and either take the cat back or, work it out.
And what did she say to you?
She said, no, okay. And she said that she wants me to give permission for her vet to talk to my vet.
Okay.
I said, I have no problem with that. I have nothing to
did you?
hide. I did.
Okay. And then was your vet able to talk to her vet?
Well, he got a report from the office.
Right. Did he
of
talk to the vet?
I don't know if he talked to the
Okay.
vet.
But in any event, your cat ends up being hospitalized for how long?
48 hours.
Okay.
These
And then
other two
they gave
were
the cat fluids
given
and
to
cat
my
got
vet.
better, right?
They gave him antibiotics, fluids, IV.
Okay.
Then he had diarrhea issues for months and
Okay.
had to go on prednisone, all sorts of medications.
So the first bill, the original vet bills that you incurred were on 12/18, 12/20, 12/21, correct? And those totaled, okay, because I'm also looking at other animals' bills, right? So I have to look for the ones that say,
Well, there was a reason why there's other animals.
well, one reason was nail cutting. Vectra for cats, single dose. And why should she pay for that? What is it you're saying?
Because the cat had fleas
The cat
The
she
kitten.
sold you, the kitten had fleas and what?
and conjunctivitis.
No, who's Stitch?
Stitch was my other cat that also got fleas.
Okay, is there somewhere where your vet says that Stitch got fleas from this cat and Stitch has never had fleas, as opposed to that this is just what you normally do to keep up with a flea problem?
Well, my vet did write a letter that I believe you have that states that Stitch is an indoor cat and has never had fleas before. I have
Who had been
one
healthy
letter
throughout
from,
his lifetime and was an indoor cat, was brought in with very similar symptoms. He too was hospitalized and put on MA, never fully recovered, had to be euthanized. I'm so sorry. A few months later, on April 12th. Wow. Now, I'm seeing for Stitch in January, renal issues.
Yes, he did have some renal issues.
Okay, I understand. Are you suggesting that the sickness of the cat she sold you killed Stitch?
I think
Okay, can you tell me how?
he never really fully recouped from all the symptoms that Pasha had.
Based on what I've reviewed, I'm going to order Ms. Chatter to recompense some of your vet bills, but not the amount that you're asking for. I think that, I'm sorry that what happened to Stitch happened to Stitch. That's so sad. How old was Stitch?
He's 16.
16?
It's getting up there.
Getting up there. We can't ask for much more than that, right? But I think that is far too attenuated to be something that is a foreseeable circumstance of selling a cat with a cold. What is in front of me is $364.62 in vet bills for that cat for the upper respiratory thing.
That's what I was going to deal with.
It's not an unreasonable amount of money.
That's why I was going to deal with her. But then she started adding her cat, her dog, and all this. Then I'm like, do what you got to do.
Everybody stop. Everybody stop. And therefore, that is how I rule. $364.62. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff will get her vet bills paid. How do you feel about this?
She got what she wanted, but she didn't deserve the $1,000. And she's trying to blame me for everything and her mother because she's emotional. So I'm glad she got what she wanted.
Well, she isn't getting $1,000. She's like
definitely.
$360.
That's what I was trying to tell her, but she was being unreasonable.
And you would have taken care of the
Definitely.
cat. You would have.
I've been doing this for 20 years, so I don't want anyone to be unhappy. And a cat is 20 years, being with you. I don't want her to curse me for 20 years. So.
Well, thank you very much. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. Okay,
No
you must
problem.
sign a few documents. Ms. Banks?
Hi.
The question is, why didn't you let her take care of the cat?
I did ask her to take care of the cat.
She said she would.
She refused, and it's in my text.
Really?
Yes, sir.
You would have let her?
If I wanted her to take care of the vet bill of
No,
$400.
no, no. I meant she said bring the cat back. She'll take care of it.
I was afraid that the cat would die because if it had been in the condition it was in when I got him, I don't think it would have survived.
Bottom line, how's the cat now?
He's great. He's a little devil.
Great pictures you showed the judge. Yeah, really
Thank
good.
you.
Gets along with the dog and everything. Well,
Yes, he does.
thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Okay. Harvey?
Doug, just so you know, in many states, if you buy from a breeder, you have certain rights where you can get vet bills paid and even the right to return the animal if it's sick and get your money back. You got to check your state to make sure that the law applies to you.
This is the plaintiff, Kenneth Lipton. He says his cat, Casper, was attacked by the defendant's unsupervised pit bulls, and he wants the $1,972.40 in vet bills the defendants owe him, so he's suing. These are the defendants, Matthew and Blanca Parks. Matthew says their dogs are innocent, and he didn't in any way attack the plaintiff's cat. They say there's video of their dogs outside, which shows his dogs are being framed for something they didn't do. They're accused of failing to control their dogs.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Lipton, you are suing Mr. and Mrs. Parks for $1,972.40 in vet bills that you say are their fault. Tell me what happened.
Well, on September 12th, I came home and there was a guy across the street came running over, and he said that my cat had been attacked by 3 pit bulls and that he came running over and he had some toy in his hand, like a swinging toy, and he got the dogs to leave the cat alone, but he thought that the cat had died, and that he called animal control, and animal control showed up. And after animal control showed up, they took the cat and drove off.
Did
So he didn't know if
animal
the cat had
control
died.
search for the pit bulls?
No, animal control, by the time animal control got there, the pit bulls had run off.
Okay, now you
So by
didn't
the time
see any of
animal
this. This
control-
is someone telling you this happened?
Yeah, the neighbor across the street came running over.
Okay, is that
He
neighbor
told
going to
me-
testify today?
No, he's not going to testify, but he's in the animal control reports.
Okay.
It says that he was, okay. So what happened is, at that point, the cat was in the hospital, which was the Beverly Oaks Hospital. So at that point, I knew that the cat had been attacked by 3 pit bulls, but I had no idea who owned the dogs or anything. So about 10 days after that, this is 10 days later, and then there was a neighbor who came over too, and he lives 2 doors up to the south of me, and he said he also saw the dogs attacking the cat. So then 10 days later, the 3 pit bulls were running up the street again, and they got a video of them.
Who's they?
And the same
Who's they?
The same neighbor who was in the police report who said that he saw the dogs attack the cat said that he identified the same 3 pit bulls and that they were running down the street. So he followed them. And there's a video camera, which you have, of the dogs running. And he followed them to the house on my street, which was owned by Matthew Parks there.
How far away do Mr. and Mrs. Park live from you?
They're about 10 houses down the street.
Had you ever seen their dogs before?
I had never met their dogs
and
before.
had your neighbor, who's not here to testify, ever met their dogs before?
No, he never met the dogs either.
Okay. So what happens next?
So the 10 days later, they followed the dogs to that house. And they called animal control, and the same officers that had been trying to find out what happened the first time, they knew that the cat had been attacked. And this is on that page, it's page 10 on the bottom, that says page 2 of 10 maybe. But that's the one that says that my cat was attacked 10 days earlier, and they figured out that the cat
Who's they? I got to be the one to figure it out. That's why I'm wondering.
Okay, sure.
What besides your evidence today is what? The report?
Yeah, the animal control report says basically that.
Why isn't the witness here to testify?
I didn't bring the witness because the animal control reports give his name and said that they traced the dogs back to the house, and it was owned by Mr.
Right.
Parks.
So what you're asking is for me to rule in your favor based on the animal control report as opposed to a live witness who testifies in front of me. You're asking me to base my verdict on what we call hearsay. Let me talk to you, Mr. and Mrs. Parks. What's going on? Because there's a video of your dogs running loose, isn't there?
There is, and on the 22nd, the dogs did get out, and the workers that we had here working on the houses notified us immediately that the dogs had gotten out. And fortunately, I was basically almost home.
How many dogs got out?
3.
3 what?
Got
Pit
out.
bulls?
3 pit bulls, yeah.
All right, go on.
On the 12th, our dogs did not get out because if they had, we would have been notified immediately.
Well, either that or someone's a slack jaw.
On the 22nd.
Why can't it be if your dogs are able to get out once? Why couldn't they have gotten out twice? How many? It's another roving pack of 3 pit. Just a second. It's another roving pack of 3 pit bulls. Also roaming around your neighborhood? There's another roaming 3 pit bull gang besides your 3 pit bull gang. There's a different 3 pit bull gang roaming in your neighborhood.
Yes, there is.
There is? Where do they live?
That I don't know.
So how do you know there are?
There was another separate attack reported in the Neighborhood Watch website.
3 pit bulls attack a person that was walking her dog on Ventura Boulevard, which is very close to our house. 3 pit bulls. She was on Ventura, and they attacked her dog.
What day did that happen?
On the 12th.
Yeah, the same date as
the same day.
Yeah.
How do you know those weren't your dogs that were loose?
Because that day our dogs were at home when we got home, and if we.
What do you mean by at home?
Because
what do you mean by at home in your yard?
Yeah, our dogs were at home.
How do you know they didn't come out of your yard and come back into your yard?
Because we have experience with them getting out of the yard.
How do you have experience with them getting out of the yard? So this has happened more than once.
We do.
How often have they gotten out of your yard?
In Granada Hills, like a year ago, 2 years before that.
A couple of times.
How many times?
A couple of times. But
why is it always pit bulls that get out? Why isn't it ever Fluffy, the French poodle, that gets out? Why is it always pit bulls that get out? How's this happen?
Consistent.
So did animal control come and talk to you folks?
They did.
What'd they say?
The officer came.
He said that if they were attacked a dog or a cat or anything, they would have some marks on them.
10 days later? 10 days later, the marks might not have healed?
And he said,
it's 10 days ago. How is it that 10 days ago the marks might not have healed? And what if they got the better of the cat, 3 pit bulls? Maybe they didn't have end marks on it. You should see the other guy. Like, you know.
Well, the point I was trying to make is that we have experience with our dogs getting out. And when they get out...
That's a terrible point to make. In a case where you are being sued for the $1,900 in vet bills because your dogs got out.
When they get out, they don't come back home.
Why are you telling the officer who comes to talk to you that you are certain your dogs did not get out when there's a video of your dogs out?
On a different day.
There's a video of the dogs out on a different day, not that day.
No. You find out late. That's your answer now for the video. But at the time that he talks to you, you say you're unaware of any attack, let alone his dogs getting out of the house. M. Parks stated he was certain his dogs have not gotten out. Well, you've already admitted to me that your dogs got out. But this isn't saying they got out on a different day. This is saying they haven't gotten out. This is before the video bubbles up, I guess. So why are you telling them you're certain your dogs have not gotten out, as opposed to, listen, I know my dogs got out on the 26th, but they didn't get out on the 12th or whatever it was?
At that time, he didn't know. You didn't know at that time.
No, you didn't know that it was video.
Obviously.
Okay, because obviously you know on the day they get out, because according to you, the contractors call you right away to say, ooh, dogs got out. So you knew. You just didn't know there was video proving it. Jeez. All right, let's see the video that everybody keeps talking about here. There's the gang of 3 pit bulls.
Oh, Jesus.
Who's that in the video there? Is that you, Mr. Parks?
Is it his turn?
Yeah.
He just said yeah.
Now we know.
So here's what we've got. We've got animal control asking you if your dogs ever get out, and you saying no. We've got you testifying here that your dogs have got, that you have a lot of experience with them getting out. We've got video where we can see that your dogs got out. We have the person on the video saying, well, I guess now we know, because he yelled to you, are those your dogs? And I guess you answered yes. Where would you go if you were me?
I know how my dogs behave. I know before this date, they lived for 2 years in a house with small dogs and cats. I know that my dogs would never attack.
You know, Mr. Parks, every single time a pit bull owner testifies, they say what you're saying. They say, then they show me pictures of the pit bull playing with their grandson, who's an infant. And they show me, because there's never a problem until there is, right? Because at the end of the day, we're not punishing them for being pit bulls. They're animals. If they exhibit animal behavior, it's expected. What we punish in court are the humans for letting them get out and do damage. I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,972.40.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. and Ms. Parks, let me ask you how you feel about the judge's decision. You got a judgment against you now for $1,972. How about that?
We still feel like it wasn't our dogs. Just, I mean, they if our dogs get out, they don't come back home.
What do you mean by that? If they get out, they don't come back home. What do you mean?
They don't come back. They just keep going. They just keep going. The only way we got them back is because animal control picked them up, and we had to pick them up at the shelter. That's the only way we got them back.
And they never attack anybody.
All right. Well, listen, that's the judge's decision. You got to live with it. Mr. Lipton, never did hear anything about the outcome of how your cat was injured. How's your cat doing, by the way? Yeah.
The cat spent 8 days in the hospital, and the cat now walks kind of like, almost like he has arthritis. He walks kind of slow and stiff. Other than that, the cat seems fine.
All right. Well, congratulations. You have won your case, and good luck to you.
Doug, if you have a situation where there are dogs roaming in a neighborhood, especially vicious dogs, and the owners will not take responsibility, call your Department of Animal Control. It's a local agency. They can come out and first talk to the owner, give the owner a warning. At a point, if the owner will not be responsible, Animal Control has the power to take the dogs away.
Dear judges, lately many states are taking animal welfare and abuse seriously and fining and jailing severe cases. Will this affect how cases involving the ownership death of a pet is considered? If they're acknowledged as victims of abuse, how can they still be considered property and not a family member?
No matter how much we love our dogs and our cats and our pets and how much they love us and the relationships we develop with them, at the end of the day, the courts consider them personal property. I mean, it would be the same as a tennis racket or a toaster or a bicycle, right?
People have a lot of problem with that, obviously.
They do, and I understand it too. I mean, we don't have laws that forbid, or we don't have the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Toasters, right?
Right.
But we do for our animals because we recognize that they're important and they need protection.
Special, and they need protection.
They definitely need protection.
But they're still considered property in the eyes of the law. And we can have a society where we don't treat them as human, but we treat them humanely.
Exactly. And that no cases that I ever sat on as a judge brought more public comment and outcry, emails, phone messages than I had that case
on that case
with the puppy stabbing, right? It was a domestic dispute where the guy grabs the wife's puppy and says, "You love the puppy more than you love me," plunges the knife into the puppy.
Puppy lives.
The puppy did survive, had a little bit of neurological damage, but recovered pretty well and was adopted by the cop who responded to the call. She
I did not know that.
Yeah, she adopted him later.
That's